Hey guys, and welcome to another Paranormal Q and A video. In this video I'll try to answer as many of your questions as I can in as much detail as possible, but I get so many questions every day that I just can't answer them all. So if I don't get to your question in this video, don't worry, I might get to it in the next one. If not, just drop it down in the comments and I'll answer it as soon as I can. So without further ado, let's jump into the first question. Danny asks, any chance of doing a Facebook Live when quite a bit of activity is happening? Surely that'd solve the issues for skeptics in regards to the video editing / manipulation. First, let me start by saying there is absolutely nothing that will put a skeptic's mind at rest. Like a proper skeptic who is set on debunking my videos, they don't believe me for a minute. If they think I'm video editing or I'm manipulating it, doing it live isn't going to make a difference. And I've talked about live videos in the past, and I've talked about it on numerous occasions. And the first thing that comes to my mind is, if I did a live video and nothing happened, which is something that I do worry about, because it doesn't happen on cue. Yes, I could wait until something happens, then start recording, but that doesn't guarantee that something's going to happen. So I would start a live stream and I'd sit and I'd talk about, oh, this has just been going on, I'm going to start filming and, you know, hopefully we'll catch something. If nothing happened, the skeptics would just say, funny how nothing happened once it was on camera, therefore you lose. If something did happen, that wouldn't guarantee that skeptics aren't going to completely disagree with it, because there are always theories to debunk it. They would just say that there was somebody there helping me, I was using string instead of video editing because it was live. I mean, on an old video of an object placement test I did with a TV remote where it got thrown across the room, like, just because I didn't pick the remote up, instantly people are skeptical. Like, there is always something that you do, like you can't cover all angles. And I mean, one of the debunking theories was that I'd actually opened up the remote and put, like, sort of placed a spring mechanism inside that was on a timer, so when I put it down and it just activated and flung the remote, and I didn't pick it up because that would reveal it. And it's just like, I just don't think doing it live would ever make a difference. And as I say, I've talked about going live before. I'd maybe do it for something like a Q and A, or maybe, you know, if I was doing a spirit box session or something, maybe, but I wouldn't do it as an investigation, because I've watched live videos and personally I don't enjoy them. And that's no offense to anybody that watches them and enjoys them or even does their own live videos. Like, that's fine, but I personally don't watch them because I don't enjoy doing it. It's different when you're there. And personally, if I'm watching somebody else doing an investigation, I prefer to just watch the main bits. Like, they've done the hard work. I don't need to be there. If I'm watching somebody else, I just want to see the evidence. And so I kind of try to put out the content that I personally would want to watch. This is what I would enjoy watching, so that's what I want to continue doing. And I've come to a conclusion a while ago that I'm just not catering to skeptics so much anymore. I do YouTube because I enjoy being a part of the community and putting out YouTube content, and so I'm just going to continue to put out the content that would make me happy. 72 Blinks asks, how do you get a good spirit and not a spirit that scares you and hurts you? There are no real guarantees. Like, there's no guaranteed method to say I want good spirits to show up instead of negative ones. Like, it is really luck of the draw. If you decide to go the route where you've gone into an investigation or you've started a spirit box session, you're encouraging spirits to come forward. No matter how much you say I only accept good spirits, you can't control it. You know what I mean? You've opened the door to the public and just asked random people to show up. Yes, you may get a lot of good people, but you're also getting negative ones. Like, you can't control it either way. And at the same way with people, they can pretend to be what they're not. So I mean, it could be a bad spirit that's coming in and pretending to be nice. And because the spirit realm is so far beyond our regular senses, you can't sort of pick up on that the way you could, like, with a person, for example, where you're like, I think there's something a bit dodgy about you. I mean, there are, like, people believe, like, crystals and certain incenses and, you know, things like that can help. And personally, I'm a big believer in intent. Like, if you go in with positive energy and, you know, you do want to speak to good spirits, you do want to help, you're not provoking or anything like that, then yes, you're more likely to attract positive energies. But there's just no guarantee. Yusuf asks, Michael, have you ever considered conducting your investigations in a spiritually active place? If so, how far are you willing to travel? Yes, I have, and I fully intend to start including external investigations on this channel, because I understand that it must get boring watching me investigate the same place over and over again. I mean, I find it interesting because I'm always learning new things about the spirits, and I do hope some people are finding enjoyment in that. And it's kind of a journey, and we're learning together. But I do understand that visually, like, it's not as stimulating looking at the same four walls over and over again. So I do want to do it. I have a series called Hometown Haunts. That is, it's as you say, it's me traveling around and visiting haunted locations, like meeting you guys, meeting the locals, and talking about these haunted hotspots, and then investigating them, and urban legends, and things like that. And I'm very excited to get it underway. But the trouble that I'm having, and I'm sure everybody can understand this, is finance and time. Like, I work full time, so I get 2 days off a week, or 1.5 occasionally, and all that time is spent back on this. I try to put out 2 videos a week, so it's like, you know what I mean? Like, it takes up most of my spare time. What spare time I have after the YouTube videos is spent with my fiance and, family and friends and things like that. Finance-wise, like I said, I work all week, and that gives me enough to pay my bills and pay what needs paying. Any extra, I put a lot of money into this channel. I buy new equipment all the time. And so it's kind of, it's a balancing act, really. To go out and start doing all these investigations would set me back, because it would take more time than it does to investigate here. And I wouldn't want the channel to suffer. I would like it to be an extra and to keep improving the channel. And so I started a Patreon campaign a couple of months ago. And, it's still in its infancy. It's still growing. And at the moment, it's helping me to get new equipment. Like, I've just bought a new piece of equipment that should be arriving shortly, and I'll share that with you guys when I have. But it's not quite at the level where I can afford to take a week off work to go traveling and doing lots of filming and editing and whatnot. So it's kind of a balancing act at the moment, but it is coming. It's definitely something that I want to do. I even have my first location in mind. It's just picking the right time to do it. Fluffy Whale asks, Michael, I have a question. Why do paranormal activities happen when you renovate a house? My parents' house was renovated, and I saw and heard strange things happen after the renovation. It's funny. I get this story told to me all the time. It's almost exactly the same. You've moved into a house, everything was fine, you renovate it, and then suddenly there's paranormal activity. And it's not that, personally, I don't think it's that, like, by renovating it, you've, like, attracted spirits in. I think the house was probably already haunted, and then just the actual act of renovating it has just upset whatever spirit was there. I mean, you imagine that the spirit in the house is an old man. They've lived there all their lives, they've passed away, and they've continued to be in that environment. And then suddenly this family moves in and just tears the place up and makes it whatever they want. Like, that would upset you. And you imagine if it's a grumpy old man, then they're going to act out, you know what I mean? They're going to tell you that they do not want this to happen. And I have heard stories where they've actually just sat down and said, look, we understand that this was your place, but it's not anymore. You need to move on. Like, we own this property now, you know what I mean? We intend to look after it. It's in good hands, just put the minds at rest. I mean, that's just one example, but I do think just the act of renovating doesn't attract them as much as just disrupts existing energy. Olivia asks, have you ever wondered that some spirits could not be from the dead, but also from the living, in a trance like astral projection? Do you believe in that, and have you ever experienced such? Yes, there is a theory about, it's called like spirits of the living, the idea that people astral projecting can be seen, and they are seen as we would imagine a ghost to be. Like, they are just seeing their astral body instead of their spirit form. And I mean, you could argue that that's pretty much the same thing. In fact, I once heard a story that kind of got me thinking. I mean, take it for what it is, but essentially this woman, she'd moved far away, and she was thinking about her old family home, and she had a tree that she'd carved her name in and things like that. And she was thinking about it a lot, and she really wanted to visit this place. And then on a night, she would be dreaming about it. And this one particular night, she was dreaming that she was walking through the woods near her home, and she saw her family around a campfire. And then a little boy spotted her. Like, he saw her and, freaked out a little bit. And then she woke up. And then sort of like a couple of weeks later, she finally got the opportunity to visit this home. Got there, talking to the mum about, this tree that she had, and they were ready to cut it down and all this business. And then the little boy walks in and apparently he threw something at her because he was like fully convinced that he had seen a ghost. He was like, this is the woman that I saw in the woods the other night. And it turned out that this boy had actually seen her astral projecting, and she had been unintentionally astral projecting in her dream. Like I believe some people are probably capable of doing that, like just through meditation and concentration and stuff, but in this particular instance, she was doing that by accident, and this kid had thought he'd seen a ghost. And I thought it was really interesting. I mean, you could take it for what it is. It's a story. Whether it happened or not, I couldn't tell you, but it's interesting, and I do like the idea that there is a little bit more to it, and that there might not all just be humans that have passed on. Wasamomerto asks, I just wanted to make a suggestion. Maybe you could add a background creepy song in your Q&A, because it's a little bit boring this way with just your voice. I believe that it would make your video more entertaining to watch. Now, it's true, I generally do try to avoid like music of any kind, to be honest. I have experimented a little bit with music in the past, but I've had issues with like copyright claims and videos getting taken down because I was told a song was royalty free and then it turned out it wasn't, or YouTubers claimed copyright over it. There was a big thing with Video Copilot's royalty free music where someone falsely claimed ownership of it, and now even people that have paid Video Copilot for it have to then validate that they've paid for it so that Video Copilot can clear it up with YouTube just to allow them to use that music. And that was never the intention for that music, you know what I mean? It was made so that YouTubers and people like that can use it royalty free, no issues, but people made false claims and it just caused all sorts of issues. So music is a bit funny. If people agree, like, do let me know. I'm asking you now, do you want me to possibly put some sort of like background music track on these Q&As just to sort of fill the silences, or if not, are you just happy with it just me chatting as clear cut as it is now? Hannah asks, question, what are some of the other things in life, non-paranormal, that you're interested in and passionate about? Love from Pittsburgh. Oh, loads of stuff, to be honest. I mean, YouTube itself is probably my biggest hobby. It takes up the majority of my time, and even if I wasn't doing like paranormal content, I would want to be a part of it and to put out something. So I mean, I'd probably do a vlogging channel or like movie reviews or something to that effect. But if I was just to strip all that away, I mean, as a person, I'm very active. I like the outdoors. I like to go walking and like climbing mountains and things like that. And I've really been getting into my photography as well. My old camera broke and I replaced it with a Canon 80D. That's the one I'm shooting on now. So when I'm not filming, I like to take it and utilize the DSLR for what it is. And I've been really getting into my photography. And so if you follow me on Instagram, you'll have seen loads of pictures that I go out and take. When like we go out walking quite frequently, me and Shauna. So I like to take the camera and get some nice landscape shots. And so that's it for this week's Q&A, guys. I hope I answered your questions sufficiently and in enough detail. And as I said before, if I didn't get to your question in this video, don't worry, I might get to it in the next one. If not, just drop it down in the comments and I'll answer it as soon as I can. And as another point, they don't necessarily have to be paranormal. If you have questions like the last one that you just want to get to know me a little bit better, feel free to drop them in as well. And if there's enough of them, maybe I'll just keep it as a separate Q&A. I mean, this is an open forum. I'm here to answer whatever questions I get, as long as I feel that everyone would benefit from the answer. So feel free to do that. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, I'll post any and all activity as I'm going to get it.